This is the Aldora devlog, let us begin. Okay, so we've done a ton of different types of things over the last week or two as I have been away on holiday. Now let's just get back into things and have a look. The first thing that has changed, and if anyone is using Unreal at this moment in time, I actually ported the game as one of the major updates since I last spoke to you. I've ported it from version 4.2.7 over towards the Unreal Engine 5 latest version. What you're going to be wanting to do here, and what you're going to be able to see here, is the lighting is totally different. If we actually go into the game as it stands, I added in into the game port. This will just increase with dynamic lighting, better functionality, and just an incredibly bigger and better upgrade when it comes towards the game engine as a whole. This will be things that most players won't really notice in like the grand scheme of things. However, when it comes towards just building everything out, it's really going to help just with that port to the new engine. I could have done it still with Unreal Engine 4. However, with Unreal Engine 5, I've got a bit more of a utility tool belt in order to build out this even better. There is a couple of little things that you can see in the background. There is a ton of different types of watchtowers, isn't there? Well, the first things first, I added shadows towards sprites. Not all of them, mind you, just yet. However, with the lighting at this moment in time, as we're having a day and night cycle, trees currently have shadows. And so does the character, so to speak. So if we walk over to this light, we can actually see the character has a bit of a shadow, and that just adds a little bit more immersion to the game as a whole, building that out. There is a couple of bugs with the port where I'll have to change some of the margins. I managed to actually fix the problem with the tooltips, so now you can actually see the tooltips in there and all the things. As it stands, we do have the village of Talendar. However, I have built out a couple of other things, so if we speed through this, last time we actually spoke to you guys, I sorted out the orc encampments for everything. So these orcs will actually see you and will chase you if they notice you, and they'll try and attack you, so jumping by that. We animated all of the gruel pots and everything going with that, and obviously I'm using my mount up ability, which doesn't actually have a mount. Thank you, Jin, for mentioning that. If anyone wants to know, Jin is one of my friends who was on my live stream on my main channel, and he was mentioning that while we were actually doing that. I have actually built out a new little item. If you haven't noticed, we obviously have this lovely little hut, which is the basic village hut. However, if we go over to this one is the barn at this moment in time. Obviously, a few more things need to be built, but the initial structure is actually designed for it. So you'll be able to have new barn structures to deal with all of that. And that building will go here, which will be one of the questing hubs for the barn. If we head a little bit further adrift, we can actually block off the area. This is the Warden's Gate, which will extend into the sea. For the demo, I need people to not be able to get into Erundir and the other zone to the north, which is Skulvar, because there won't be any content when the demo is released. So I've actually done the big old wall, which you cannot bypass. These walls you cannot bypass, and there will be an invisible wall past that in order to get around everything overall. However, there will be a nice little questing area here when all of the other buildings and everything has been built out and it's all fleshed out. This is just bare bones at this moment in time to build out a nice little structure, to build out all of the questing hubs and the zones, and then we can build up the forests and the animals and everything coming along with that. We also, in the distance, have the basic setup for the port, which is just over there. I just shoved a few buildings there and just organised it to get a good idea on what the port would actually look like. And if we head over to this lovely area, you can't fall in the water, so you just run straight over it. This is the city of Erundir. Now, judging by this at this moment in time, the walls are a little bit adrift. I wanted to keep the same textures that were being built along with this, with the characters. So when it comes towards the only texture I had on hand at the time of building this structure was literally the one for the little townhouse. There will be a different texture applied to this, but I wanted to keep that same hand-drawn texture to apply to this, as a lot of these ones are 2D. So this portcullis is 2D. It's going to be changed when it comes towards its different types of setup and how it's actually going to be. But if you come into the city, we can actually, this is where it's all going to build out, where your professions are going to be and everything going above that. I literally just this morning built the little watch towers, which will have a ton more added to them. We just needed the functionality to the actual city structures, so I built those out really simply. I wanted to go with minimalistic aesthetic, as it's mainly about the questing and the initial world and all of that stuff. So we've got the watchtowers attached to the walls. They're all using the same textures, so it looks horrible. However, I just wanted to see what it looked like with a texture applied, as these walls will be different than the village and the barn textures as well, to give a bit more depth, because otherwise it just looks all the same and it's a bit boring. I have been working on the keep, which is on the city, as I wanted to portray the city of Erundir. Down at the bottom is down at this bottom here is like the trade district and all of the lower class people in the actual world of this city of Erundir. And then if we go up to the high rise, will be where all the military are, and like the regional lords and everything will be for all of that. There is a different type of thing, because there is something that I have been planned. So if you go to the back part of this area, this will lead towards the port, where with this is a port city. This will actually open up and you can see Skulvar in the distance, which will actually be blocked off with a invisible barrier. But alongside that, this will actually open up, and I'm actually planning on, like, you can actually get on a ship and disappear and go do stuff. So I built out the this lovely little walkway where some of the textures need to be rebuilt and the polygons need to be reset. However, when it comes towards everything, the city is just building out very nicely. I'm loving it, and I'm just trying to work out everything, because obviously we want a 2D game in a 3D world, so we want to keep the same hand-drawn textures if we're going to add some 3D elements, because there's just some things that 2D can't do that 3D can. And with that being said, it's mainly the bigger buildings. When it comes towards aesthetic details, 2D will work. However, with everything else, it's just going alongside all of that. Now, if I actually go round the back and have a look, there is a little bit of a bug here, but we can actually fall through, and there's the actual bit. So I need to cover that up. But underneath here, I want you to be able to do a nice little questing bit, where this is more of the underground, the underbelly of the actual city. And that's going to build out into certain different types of rooms. Maybe you could learn some necrotic magic in here. There's some monsters, and I've got this entire area all blocked off from the other world, and you'll have to find your way underneath in order to actually do. So that's building out quite nicely as with Erundir overall, and that is the update for today with the Aldora devlog. It's working out quite nicely. I just need to build it out even more, like I did with the village, with like little different types of knickknacks and everything. And there's a ton of stuff that needs to be done for the demo, so therefore I'm just going to go completely crazy and just do a load of work on this. As of pretty much after I've edited and uploaded this video, I'll be working on it. Other than that, have an awesome rest of the day, and if you want to discuss anything, then please feel free to leave a comment or jump in and go over towards the Discord. Other than that, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be soon.